So good day, everyone, and welcome to our SMART webinar series. And today's webinar, Expand Beyond Zoom, Bigger, Better Ways to Use Video. And what a perfect time for this webinar. I'm Andrea Catazone. I'm co-founder of Senior Living SMART, and I'll be your host for the webinar today. So right now, I would like to go ahead and introduce our moderator, Hillary Beck. Hillary is the National Director of Sales at Heart Legacy. She coaches teams to take customer-centered sales approach in helping clients navigate their decision-making journeys. Hillary has had a successful track record leading high-performing sales teams for the past 13 years. And prior to joining Heart Legacy in 2016, she had a sales leadership role in the healthcare practice management and technology fields. We are so excited to have Hillary join us, as well as some wonderful panelists that Hillary will be introducing. So let's get started and welcome everyone.
Andrea, thank you so much for that nice introduction, and also thank you for hosting today's webinar. It is truly a pleasure, and we also want to thank all of our attendees. Yesterday afternoon, we had more than 200 people registered, so we know too that the last few months have been awfully demanding, and we thank everyone that's on the call today for your tireless support. We know that you are so busy providing for our older adults and their families during challenging times and beyond, and in the midst of all that, you're spending an hour with us today, so we are truly grateful. I also want to thank our panelists for their support and being here with us to share all of their wisdom. I am so humbled and honored that Frank, Lori, and Kim are able to join us today. So just a quick introduction to each of them. Frank Quintiliani is Senior Regional Director of Sales at Benchmark. Lori Edgerton and Kim Clark are both with Grace Management. Lori is Vice President of Sales, and Kim is Senior Vice President of Sales and Marketing. And between all of these remarkable people, plus Debbie and Andrea from Senior Living SMART, they have well over 90 years combined experience in the senior living and care space. And we're in such great hands today. So thank you all for joining us. So here are the things that we are going to go over and what we're hoping you will walk away with. As the title of the webinar suggests, we're going to explore a variety of ways to harness the power of video beyond Zoom meetings and beyond other platforms like Skype and Facetime. While these are very wonderful tools, we're using them to get face-to-face with potential residents and families, but there are so many other ways that we can deploy video for sales and for marketing, but most importantly for really rewriting the sometimes negative perceptions that seem to be so challenging for us in this industry right now. So I'll kick off our discussions with just that. We'll be talking about how senior living providers are rewriting the narrative and flipping perceptions. Oops, sorry about that. I'll also share an overview of a couple of the tools that senior living communities, just like those that are part of Grace Management, those that are part of Benchmark, are using as they navigate their way through our new normal. And then Frank, I'm going to pass it to you, where Frank's going to highlight some trends that demonstrate why video can be so powerful for senior living providers like Benchmark, and some of the ways that their communities have used video pre-COVID, during COVID, and as they slowly start to consider reopening strategies and begin to dip their toes into those waters. And then Lori and Kim will share how Grace Management started using video for marketing and sales to make progress and how they've actually seen an uptick in occupancy during COVID-19 by connecting with prospects and referral sources in new ways. So we are in a place right now where senior care has received less than positive media coverage, and people tend to form opinions about what they hear. In other words, their perception tends to be their reality. My mother-in-law actually is the reason that I got into senior living in 2016, and that happens to also be the year that she lost her fight against Alzheimer's, and she spent the last 7 years of her life in a senior living community, and the level of care and attention and engagement that she received on a day-to-day basis really inspired me to want to make a whole career transition and join the team at Heart Legacy. But Carol was actually an intellect, and she used to say, based on her world traveler, she had this saying that goes, "The world is green," said the frog. And what that means, I mean, you're probably wondering where I'm going with all of this, but really what she meant was that in her world travelers, she quickly learned that people build their own realities based off of their perception. And video, with its unique ability to capture attention, tell stories, and elicit emotion, it's among one of the best ways for us to communicate and to start flipping those perceptions. So one of the ways that we can do that is by demonstrating through video that you're exercising safety precautions, that you're offering a selection of wholesome, nutritious meals and managing medications. And you're engaging residents every single day as they social isolate. And you can tell right now exactly how you're going about it through video. All these things are very difficult to convey in written text or even with photos. And people actually retain 95% of a message when they watch it in video versus 10% when reading it in a text. So video right here, right now, is an amazing way for us to start to tell that story. And like I said earlier, begin to flip perceptions. So Lori and Kim are going to talk further about how Grace Management uses video to change perceptions as well. So I do want to leave that to the experts. But as I mentioned, right now there are so many wonderful stories to tell. And if we can capture those stories and capture those moments of joy, those moments of sharing safety precautions and all the things that are going on within a senior living community that people are generally not aware of, we can use video to manage that. So as I mentioned a few minutes ago, I'm going to spend a few minutes covering the tools that senior living communities can use to start to kind of pull back the cover, so to speak, and share all of the remarkable things and the remarkable people that are going on in senior living and how we are keeping residents safe and engaged. And one of those things is through sales mail. So we developed sales mail, which is instant branded video messaging. We developed it a number of years ago in response to our clients who came to us and shared with us that so many of their potential families are looking at multiple communities all at the same time when evaluating senior care. Sometimes they're looking at 1, 2, 3, and even more communities all at once. And so they needed a way to stand out and capture attention. Well, that was fine, and it still is. It's a great tool to be able to do those things. But the more important part to all of this is that we immediately, as did our customers, realized that sales mail is a relationship building tool. So not only does it allow us to capture attention and cut through the busy inboxes of crazy busy people, and we'll talk about that in a second, but more importantly, it's allowing us to build deeper connections and establish rapport and trust with our families and our potential residents as they navigate these waters. And as I mentioned before, that's more important now than ever. So for those of you that have attended a training session with me lately, you've probably heard me tell this story, but I think it paints a really good image or a really good picture of the relationship building power of sales mail. Earlier this year, I was attending a conference before COVID hit. It was in St. Paul, Minnesota, and it was in early February, so it was really, really cold. The wind was blowing, it was chilly, and I arrived after a full day of travel from my hometown of Salt Lake City, and I was not wanting to leave that hotel to go find dinner for myself. So I decided to stay in and have dinner in the hotel and bar down on the main floor. Well, it turns out that almost everybody else had that same idea. As I was waiting for a table, it was really busy, and as I was waiting for a table with my nose in my phone, likely, somebody approached me and said, "Hillary?" Now, I was really incognito. I was in a sweater and jeans, and I looked up and I did not recognize this person at all. I never met her. I could not match her face with a name. And she recognized that I was a little confused, and she said to me, "Oh my gosh, I'm sorry. I feel like I already know you." Well, as it turns out, I had been corresponding with her over time with video messaging. I had been hoping to earn her business, and I sent her, whenever I followed up with her, I followed up with a video message. Whenever I had a question to ask of her, I asked it in a video message. And whenever she asked me a question, and again, this correspondence is all through email, I would then reply with a video email. So what ended up happening is that we had dinner together that night in the hotel, and now we call each other friends. But those words that she said to me, "I feel like I already know you," those are words that our clients hear all the time when they finally do meet someone after corresponding with them through video. And using video as a means of correspondence lets us communicate with our personalities and not our keyboards, with our authentic personalities shining through. We're able to establish trust because we couldn't put a face with a name. And instantly, those that we correspond with soon feel a greater bond with them. And our clients share with us that when they communicate with their prospects, mostly via plain email, compared to when they correspond with their prospects and their referral sources with video messaging, the connections they have with those that they've been corresponding with via video messaging, even though it's one directional from them to their referral source or their prospect, those connections are stronger. They can feel it, it's palpable. So sales mail is indeed a way to build stronger relationships and deeper connections among those that we correspond with.
Hey, Sue.
Sales mail is also, as I mentioned, a way to cut through busy inboxes and stand out as well. So if you do not follow Josh Braun on LinkedIn, I encourage you to do so. He is full of sales wisdom, but one of the things that he says is that it's never been easier to send communications to people, but actually never harder to get their attention. And that is so true in today's digital world with email, text, LinkedIn, Facebook. We have a fire hose of information coming at us all the time. So while it makes it really easy for us to share information out, it's hard to get their attention among all of that incoming information. So we need to find a way to stand out with them, and video messaging can do that. Sorry.
Hey Sue, it's Walt Armentrout with Anytown Senior Living. Wanted to shoot you a quick video follow-up and say thank you so much for coming by the community today. Such a pleasure to meet you and your mom. I hope you enjoyed the tour, and I have no doubt that should you decide to be a part of our family, we will far exceed your expectations in senior care. As I mentioned, this Friday is our family night, so please come by. We would love to have you. If you need any additional information, the logo above will link right back to our website. You can grab some info there. And of course, my contact information is here in the footer below. Thank you again for stopping by. I look forward to following up.
So I'm not sure if that video was able to play for you, but once again, you notice that there was movement in that message. It was warm, it was genuine, and it's really hard not to feel a connection with somebody. And I'll share some other examples with you shortly, but one other thing that I wanted to introduce you to is a typical inbox. So what you're seeing here might look a lot like your inbox, flooded. Maybe it has thousands of messages in it if you're like most people. If you're like most of your prospects, it has so much information coming in that is just all faceless, digital, text-based correspondence. And if you think about your prospects, and we can build a quick persona of someone that might be evaluating senior living. Let's say she is a female and she is between the ages of 45 and 65. Perhaps she has a spouse. Maybe she has children who are a little bit older and also very, very busy, that need to be carpooled with their schedules that need to be managed. She and her spouse probably have a household to run, which is a full-time job in and of itself. She's probably trying to manage her own fitness schedule, and she is taking care of her aging parents. So with all of that in mind, then think about her relationship with her inbox. And it's probably a lot like yours. She may not have time to scan each and every message. In fact, if she does, she's likely skipping over many of them. And then we bring in a video message with movement and a warm smile and a friendly face embedded right into the body of that in that email. So she's going to be very compelled to actually want to click on it and see what that person has to say. Now, in a presentation that Debbie at Senior Living Smart provided to Argentum a few years ago, she said that 75% of people will select the first person they speak with when they're shopping for products or services. Now, if that's the case, we need to find a way to stand out. And if we can stand out amongst an ocean of faceless digital black and white text-based content, then we have an opportunity to start building that relationship right away and early on. Because of that warmth and that smile and that friendly wave embedded right into the body of an email message, with branding and a very polished professional look, our clients are seeing an increase in open rates. More of their messages are getting clicked upon and viewed, and they're sparking more conversations. And again, they're building deeper rapport and face-to-face connections with those that they open them right from the start and right from when they begin. So here is an example of what sales mail looks like embedded into the body of an email message itself. Again, with branding. And Walt Armentrout, the CEO of Heart Legacy, he has a saying that says, brand consistency equals brand trust, and I couldn't agree more. So to be able to share your branding embedded in a body of an email puts forth a very polished professional image. So each of each sales mail message is branded specifically to the sender with their community's logo, their information below. So sales mail not only acts as an email message, but also as a video business card. And then there is the all-important call to action at the bottom where recipients can click to email the sender. So again, each individual sales mail message is unique to the sender with their contact information and their branding. Now, the other way that senior living communities are using video, Frank and Lori and Kim are going to cover this in just a few minutes, is through social media and video. So one of the ways that Heart Legacy works is that we'll provide an app to our clients. They simply point and shoot, and it couldn't be easier than that. They're crowdsourcing content of the remarkable things that are going on in their community. It might be virtual tours, but they might take it a step further and showcase their dining culture and how their dining services have continued to deliver quality, nourishing meals during times of social isolation. Maybe they are showing off their safety precautions, or how, more importantly, how they're keeping their residents engaged and involved and entertained, even while maintaining distance from other residents. So our clients simply use their smartphone app to quickly capture video content just like they do using a native app on their camera. The difference is that footage and those photos upload to Heart Legacy. Our editing team make it beautiful, and then it's shared out back to the community where they can publish it on social media, where they can share it with families through their Heart Legacy family app, or they can embed it into their website, which a lot of our communities are doing right now with professionally edited virtual tours. Video during COVID-19, up until now, virtual tours were something that a lot of our communities were coming to us for. They suddenly didn't have a way to meet with their potential families, but they wanted to showcase their properties in a really nicely polished way so that they could continue making progress with those families. But in addition to that, during COVID-19, they were using video to showcase how they're taking safety precautions and how they're being reliably consistent with their residents. And they're using video to communicate with families day to day, how their communities are maintaining those standards and how they are delivering peace of mind to both their residents and to their loved ones. Prior to COVID-19, and hopefully soon after, and hopefully that happens sooner rather than later, but highlighting culture and activities in a beautiful way that elicits emotion and tells a story, which is incredibly important. Video that is just uploaded from a phone to social media is fine, but when we can put a professional, polished touch to it and start to tell a story and elicit emotion, then we begin to start to see results. So social media video uploaded to social media generates 1,200% more shares and likes than any other type of social media post. And again, the reason for that is because it tells a story and elicits emotion, but it has to be done well. So if you kind of think about your own behavior with social media and you're scrolling through your feed, you're noticing video, but do you stop and watch it? If it doesn't grab your attention within seconds, you're probably scrolling on by. So it needs to be done well. It needs to have quality. The video needs to be stabilized, the audio isolated, and it needs to be nicely branded in order to make the kind of impression that we need in order for it to be shared and in order for it to start to flip those perceptions that people are having about senior living. So one quick example of that is you all saw Matthew McConaughey in the news not long ago where he and his mom and his family called bingo for the Enclave at Round Rock Senior Living in Texas. It was all over the news, but the way that they were able to get Matthew's attention was through a simple video that they created with the help of Heart Legacy, where we were capturing their residents asking Matthew and his mom to come host celebrity bingo for them. And sure enough, 3 months later, that happened. We do often see views in upwards of 30, 40, 50,000 views and more. And again, it's because video is done well, it tells a story, it elicits emotion. And in this circumstance, again, this is not uncommon where a single video was able to help Blake Management Group and one of their communities close 7 new move-ins because it resulted in 70,000 views and almost 1,800 shares. So again, video messaging, both with sales mail and with edited video services, can really help to shift the narrative in our favor to be able to tell those heartwarming stories and how we are helping our residents not only survive but thrive in your care every single day. And they're glad to be able to do that. So Frank, I'm going to go ahead and pass the baton to you so that you can kind of share the trends and the statistics of how video is working and generally social media for, again, flipping the script and changing the narrative. So Frank, may I pass the baton to you?
Absolutely. I'm off mute, right? You can hear me?
I can.
Okay, that's good. Thank you so much, Hillary. It's really a pleasure to be a part of this. And, certainly Heart Legacy and Sales Mail, you've been wonderful partners of Benchmark for over a year now. We have definitely jumped right into this back in 2018 is when we started working with this. And of course, all throughout the past 4 months, when our world has completely shifted and changed, we were able to sort of quickly pivot and start using video in a new way. So you can go ahead to the next slide. So a little bit about me. I'm the Senior Regional Director of Sales at Benchmark Senior Living. We have 60 communities all around New England, and we're slowly making our way into New York and a little bit further south. As the Senior Regional Director of Sales, I oversee in one way or another about 50 of those properties with 4 different regions. I started with Benchmark in June of 2010, so I'm coming up, just passing my 10-year anniversary, and absolutely every year has been so rewarding, fulfilling, and better than the next, and I'm looking forward to what the future brings. Really what makes working for Benchmark so special for me is we are a company who very clearly articulates our mission, our vision, and our values. So you can see here that, we at Benchmark believe in the power of human connection to transform lives. That's our why. That's why we get up every day. That's why we do what we do. And transforming lives through the power of human connection is really something that transcends senior living. It's not just about care and the communities and caring for families. It's about how we interact with one another as teammates and members of Benchmark. Our vision, we see a world in which every person feels meaningfully connected to what and who matters most throughout their lives. And our mission, it is to deeply understand people, to meet them where they are and connect them to what's meaningful and possible at every stage in life. Now, with a company like that has a compelling mission like that, what do you do when you can no longer meet people? So obviously, if you go to the next slide, and this graph this is from a New York Times article that was actually written in the middle of March, and it shows the explosive and transformative growth that our culture has undergone as we are suddenly forced to become reliant on services like video messaging and video platforms to allow all of us to work and learn and connect and communicate while we're at home, sheltering in place. What's so remarkable about this graph is this was just the beginning. So Zoom on average prior to COVID-19, they might have had about 2 million unique app sessions per day. This graph shows that they shot up immediately to 6 million. Their blog right now is on peak days, they have as many as 200 million app sessions. And this is just Zoom per day for people meeting remotely. Really what that means to all of us is the world has just been transformed in a good way. I think it's important for us to look at the positives here. And I like to think of it as science fiction, or science fact has now caught up to science fiction. And we could all probably remember the Jetsons and his angry boss going on video conference calls to tell him what he's doing wrong. That's science reality nowadays. And every day, we are all working remotely and probably hosting video calls. And I actually feel like I'm missing out if I don't have the video of the other person. So even when I do one-to-one calls, I do them through Teams now so that I can have them with that face-to-face connection. It really has transformed our culture and the way we communicate. So next slide. Now, even before COVID-19, our culture had undergone a really radical shift. This smartphone that everybody now has in their pocket, literally now everyone has in their pocket, is really only about 13 years old. That's when the first iPhone was introduced. This graph is from Pew Research, and this was from 2018 data, and it's only gone up since then. But 81% of all Americans now own a smartphone. And when you filter that through the lens of really who our customer is, that's someone age 50 and older with an income of $75,000 more per year, you're looking at 93% have this smartphone device. One of the really compelling statistics, and judgments and values aside, is average American now is spending over 2 hours and 55 minutes per day on their cell phone. I know we all can really, that hits home with a lot of us because of just how much we have to use these things. And as Hillary had quoted, with Josh Brown, there are so many ways for us to communicate. And now it really just becomes a way to break through all of the clutter, to make sure that your message is compelling and find ways to really help you, going back to that mission for Benchmark Senior Living, to really understand people, to meet them where they are and connect them in meaningful ways, so they can understand, what's possible in their next stage of life. So next slide, please. So Benchmark, we actually began incorporating video into our Facebook campaigns back in November and December of 2018. And you can see all through 2017, hopefully you can read that slide, it's a little small, but what it shows you is our engagement with posts was a couple of hundred, maybe 50 people might engage with a post. And then with video to underscore the value that Hillary had mentioned with the power of social media, video is so compelling. We had videos easily reaching the marks of 50,000 views, 30,000 views, or 60,000 views. There's so many ways to sponsor a post, to identify a target audience, and make sure that that audience, both geographically as well as within interest, is going to see your message. So next slide, please. One of my favorite videos was just a spontaneous video that was created through Heart Legacy. It captured a moment of a resident. Her name is Bernie, moving into the community. Her daughters had done such a fabulous job making sure that everything was in its place, and that mom was greeted and treated like the queen that she was moving into our community. This thing took off. It was just so wonderful. You can see this little snippet from Facebook that over 60,000 views, 189 reactions, hundreds of comments and shares. All of that is so wonderful. It helps to build a brand, create that recognition. But as a salesperson, I firmly believe that something like having 6 views on a video can be much more powerful and much more valuable than 60,000 views. So next slide. This is a little snapshot of one of our sales directors in Connecticut. Her name is Beth. She was an early adopter of sales mail and using video. And I hope you can see this, but that instant, spontaneous, branded messaging, but most important here, it's a singular focus. This is a message for one-to-one communication. And some of Beth's videos, she will make a 20-second or 30-second video. It's specifically intended for one of her families, and she'll send it out. And some of these results are very common. It'll be viewed maybe 6 times and shared by the family. And that just goes to show just how much they're connecting with Beth. They're interested in what she has to say, and it's a springboard to great communication. So that's really going back to that previous slide. What I mean by 6 views can absolutely be more valuable than 60,000. So next slide, please. So as we go on, I know that Lori and Kim from Grace Management, they're going to get more into the specifics of how and best practices, but just some of the few that I really wanted to be able to point out quickly is that sales mail, it's really, there's no end to the creativity that each sales director can use. I really encourage each salesperson to find ways to organically and naturally weave in a sales mail message at any one of these number of touch points. The one that I'm actually most passionate about, and I think Hillary brought this up earlier, is the first contact. When you get a brand new lead, sending them a quick video message to introduce yourself helps to put a name to the face. To go back to Hillary's story, they're going to know you already. They're going to see, they're going to hear from the tone of your voice. They're going to see from the way that the empathy that you exhibit, the sincerity in your message. They're going to learn so much more about you than a quick black and white email could ever convey. It's a wonderful way to begin that relationship. And you can see as well additional ways that you can use sales mail, and we'll get into that with Lori and Kim, but a pre-tour plan, virtual tours for custom amenities. One thing that I absolutely love is bringing in the staff, maybe doing a resident introduction. So at Benchmark, we have a social media sign-off form for every resident that if they are willing to be a part of some of our messaging, we already know ahead of time. It's a consent form. So let's say that there's a resident, they're moving in, and the mom was a professor at the college nearby, and we know from our current residents that they also worked at the college, or GE or Raytheon or big employers up here, and they have hundreds of thousands of employees, and it's very common for us to make those connections based on their former career at General Electric or Raytheon. Bringing one of those residents into one of the videos, doing a 40-second introduction for them, saying who they are and what, and that they're so eager to meet them. Such a great way to demystify that sense of, that, and also that fear that you might have about coming into a new community where you don't know anybody. You can already start making those connections. Next slide.
Frank, if I may jump in and just add to that, I love that you mentioned that. It's such a precarious time for people as they are evaluating their senior living options. And if they, sometimes they don't ever really get to meet the people that they or their loved ones are going to live with every single day. And they are living with staff members. So if they can use a video to, like the activities director, to share what she's got on her calendar coming up, or the most popular activities, or the director of dining services sharing, answering questions about their food choices and their menu options. It's just such a powerful way to introduce the family when they normally would never get to meet those people. I love that you mentioned that.
Yeah, it's such an easy way for us to meet people where they're at and and really showcase what's most meaningful for them. And in a way that too, when you bring in those other staff members, they really get that thrill of being a part of the sales process. You have a way to convey just how important they are in the community and what they do, and nobody can express what they do better than they can, because it's really their passion. I'm sure many people on this call are wondering about just sort of the barriers and the difficulties of, what if I'm just scared of using video, or what if I don't want to do it because I'm self-conscious or worried. Some of the things that we've done is really just offer a lot of coaching and support. I like to call it just the ABCs of sales mail. The A in ABC is just to be authentic. In this life, few things are more valuable than authenticity. And authenticity is not easily earned or gained, and it certainly can't be faked. But one of the ways that we help to coach with authenticity is to just practice and practice and practice. Send sales mails to other people on your team. Send them to your wife or your husband. Practice with your regional director of sales. Just get used to being on there so that you can get over any kind of self-consciousness or concern that you have in terms of being in front of the camera. The B in ABCs is brave. And I'm not talking about bravado, and I'm not talking about false confidence. I'm talking about the kind of bravery that it takes to really be vulnerable. Some of the best sales mails are when you connect with a family over a really difficult emotional issue, and you share with them something about your own life that helps to connect and create that sense of understanding and empathy. So that bravery is really just all about being open and vulnerable. And then C for ABCs, for a human connections company like Benchmark, it's no surprise. It's just use sales mail for connections. And I always say that these sales mails should be brief. If it's, 30 to 40 seconds is kind of my sweet spot. I know it can go to up to 3 minutes, but if you're doing a 3-minute sales mail with a long, monologue about how great you are, that's too long. So 2 minutes is too long, 30 seconds is better. So somewhere in that area, but brief, be real, be brave, express vulnerability, and that will do amazing things to help you make these great connections. Some of the other things that we try to help our team understand is, sales mail is not just intended to be more work for you. It's just another tool to help you get the kind of results that you deserve. And when you use it right, you will get those results. Putting yourselves in the shoes of the prospects is they will begin to trust you and feel connected immediately with you once they see your face and hear your voice. so much of communication is not in the words that we say, it's nonverbal. So when you express empathy and show sincerity and you have an expression that people connect with, that's the first step in building a wonderful relationship. And I really think that in the uncertainty that we're going through, to be able to leverage technology in this time shows that we are progressive, that we're thought leaders, that we're able and willing to adapt. So those are all great reasons to begin using a video in your process. So next message or slide. So we were very concerned. We started rolling out virtual tours. We actually closed our doors to all tours in March 13th. This is a heat map of virtual tours. The darker the color, the more tours were completed that day. And I'm constantly looking at this. I'm looking for opportunities to help coach our teams, to help give them the support that they need to be able to do these virtual tours. We've worked with Heart Legacy to get virtual tours that will be rolling out soon for every one of our communities. But don't be scared with the virtual tour. There's so many ways that you can do it through Microsoft Teams or Zoom or FaceTime, whatever platform that the family wants, and use it as a way to do that discovery, which is so important to build a relationship on the front end of the sale, and learn about the family, and then briefly show them the kind of things that they need to see. But if teams are out there wondering or scratching their head, how do you get these virtual tours accomplished? It can be done, but again, it takes persistency, takes practice, and a willingness to be a little bit out of your comfort zone and try something new. So next slide. So one thing that I really wanted to follow up on was some opportunities inside your community, inside your organization to build culture. I love doing quick interviews with different teams. This particular video here was a community in Danvers, Massachusetts that had worked really hard to come together. It was a new team to build 100% occupancy. So we did a 2-minute video to congratulate them on that. And then the next slide. I like to do individual interviews. So this is great ways that you can show appreciation for a specific employee. You can recognize something that they've accomplished. But more importantly, for the rest of the team, you begin to model those successful habits. You can build wonderful trust, has an opportunity to share a moment of joy, and always going back to reflect on why we do what we do and the values that support us. These videos internally can be great ways to sort of build that camaraderie and get everybody excited for what somebody else has accomplished, and then build that sense of enthusiasm that they want to be there too. So that's a bit of my presentation here, and I really want to thank you for my time, and I'm looking forward to Laurie and Kim.
Frank, thank you so much. I love the fact that you're not just using sales mail to correspond during the sales process, but all the other different ways that Benchmark and your communities are using it to correspond in between team members, with existing residents, families as well. So thank you so very much. And yes, Laurie and Kim, they're both up next, and they're going to get into more specifics about how they are changing perceptions with video as well. So Laurie and Kim, we'll turn it over to you.
Okay, thank you, Hillary. Thank you, Frank. I definitely appreciated quite a bit of what you shared, and I think some of the things that Kim and I will go over in our slides will kind of support some of the information that you shared early on, so thank you for that. Hillary, thank you for asking Kim and I to both be a part of this. We're very excited to be here. And before we really get into it, I just want to say, Grace Management, I've been with Grace Management for almost 11 years. And truly, it is one of the most gracious, graceful companies I've ever worked for. And Kim, I'll let you introduce yourself, but today I will share. Today is Kim's anniversary with Grace Management, so we're sharing some good news there. So Kim, if you want to introduce yourself.
Congratulations, Kim.
Thank you, Hillary. Thank you, Frank, as well, and thank you, Lori. Yes, today is my 3-year anniversary with Grace Management, and I consider myself to be very fortunate to be part of the Grace family. And similar to Benchmark, and I think many of our senior living partners out there and colleagues out there, Grace Management is all about people, and that's what our mission stands for. And so when we think about the people we serve and the people we support every day, it's a natural partnership for us to work with Heart Legacy and connect with those people virtually, especially in this day and age. So thank you. It's a pleasure to be here and an honor. Thank you again, Hillary, for asking Grace Management to join today.
Thank you. Kim and I will tag team just a little bit as we're going through these slides, but we'll start with connecting with prospects. And again, an organization that is built around caring for and communicating with people and being in front of people. COVID introduced quite a few challenges for us. And some of the things that we were seeing very early on is that the phone calls that our sales teams were making to our prospects, they were so welcomed and appreciated, but we quickly learned that our prospects needed more. During a time where families were distanced, they weren't able to be with their loved ones, our prospects were missing their family members. They were having some difficulties just being alone, and we learned that they just really wanted to connect and see people. And this is where Heart Legacy, or our partnership with Heart Legacy, was introduced, and this allowed us to connect with our prospects virtually. So I'm going to go ahead and go to the next slide. Thank you. When we talk about connecting virtually, I think for me, this was, again, just to kind of back up to something Frank said, you feel like you're on an episode of The Jetsons when, you're literally sitting on a computer, in front of your computer, having a conversation. And there have been times where you really do feel like you are connecting with that person on the other side of the screen. But COVID gave us an opportunity, and I think, again, to something Frank said, we have to find the positive. For something that was scary, a time that was scary, a time of isolation, this gave us an opportunity to reconnect and have a better understanding of what connection really means. So COVID introduced us to creative ways to connect and communicate. It allowed us to bridge the gap between social distancing and isolation by virtually connecting. It allowed us to build trusting relationships. And our goal was to reassure prospects and families that we were prepared for this. We're open and we're here to support you in however way you needed us to support you. And that could have been you moving into our community, but it could have been, let us run to the grocery store for you and pick up your groceries for you. Let us run your errands for you and be that person. Let us bring your lunch to you, or just to be that person for them to talk to, that friend. And Kim, I'm watching you as I'm talking, so whenever you want to jump in, please jump in. So Hillary, I think we can probably go on and go to the next slide. The importance of virtual connections allowed us, much like it does when we meet with our prospects individually, it allowed us to identify areas of concern, allowed us to be a friend, definitely build that trust, and take that next step to a virtual tour or actually participate in a virtual event. And a virtual visit, and I've been able to be a part of some of these virtual visits that our sales directors actually provide. And our sales directors were able to create a very personalized experience, a one-on-one experience, as they were having their discussions and conversations, walking throughout the community, introducing the prospects to residents and associates as they were walking through the community. It also allowed them to go in and see an apartment and let them see what their home would look like. And then the fun part of the virtual world was our virtual connections. We've hosted virtual Jeopardy, virtual bingo. We've seen a lot of virtual happy hours. And this has just given our teams and our prospects referral sources just an opportunity to connect and build really long-term friendships and relationships for years to come.
I could add to that, Lori. I've been thinking a lot, especially about our partnership with Heart Legacy, and what I believe is somewhat perfect timing. Hillary, you know, we engaged with you really earlier this year, so we haven't been partners with you as long as Benchmark has, but there's some perfection in that timing. So we engaged with you and launched with this ability to connect virtually. And then the pandemic struck our country, and our sales teams were suddenly faced with trying to maintain connections, and they had this amazing tool to do that virtually. At the same time, based upon everything Lori was just showing, we were a friend. We were that connection for our prospects during a time of very significant isolation. And we found that with the video connection, sales mail, and the ability to connect virtually on a more personal level, we really became that beacon of hope and truth for our prospects and families. And for our teams in the communities, they could do that. And as Frank said, they can see the empathy, they can see the care in our team's eyes and know that they really are here to support and assist in any way possible. So again, I think that timing has been pretty important for us as a company. Thank you, Lori.
Absolutely.
Kim, I really appreciate you saying that. I've been thinking the same things for a long time, that you launched into your partnership with Heart Legacy at what I think is the perfect time, just as all of this hit. I mean, it was in late February that I attended your conference, and for those communities, and yours included, because you had already partnered with a video campaign or a company that allows you to successfully start using video, those communities like Benchmark and yourself that already had a solution in place, they seemed to pivot a little bit more easily. It hasn't been easy for everyone, and it wasn't easy for you or for Benchmark or for our other clients, but if they already had video solution in place, they were more quickly able to, like I said, pivot and begin to resume and make progress in the face of all of the challenges, and Grace Management's no different. So thank you for mentioning that.
Right. In a time where we're all taking selfies, you see selfies everywhere. There is a lot of fear to video yourself, to watch yourself talking. I know it's difficult for me to watch myself talking and hear myself talking sometimes. And the great thing about these sales mails, you can record it over. You can do them as many times as you need to until you feel that it's perfect. So I think once they got past, once our teams got past that initial fear, it was their opportunity to kind of really create a very personalized, creative connection with the prospects and family members that they're working with. So
indeed,
we can go ahead and go to the next slide. Connecting with our referral contacts this was kind of at a standstill. We were not allowed to really go and be in front of the professionals that we depended on as far as referrals go. So this was a way for us to really create connections, reminding them that we're the best places for our seniors right now, and to also remind them that in a time where other communities may not have been accepting new residents, we were in all of our markets. We were open, we were prepared, we were there to support, and it was also important for us, for our professional partners, to see that our residents were engaging, they were experiencing a vibrant lifestyle, even though they were appropriately social distanced. So I think the referral piece of it has been really great for our communities as well. which is going to lead me to our next slide. We partnered with Dr. O'Neill to create an Ask the Expert video series, and he has actually just done a wonderful job of recording messages and allowing us to use those in a video series that we share either through social media outlets, through our websites, through emails to our prospects and referral sources. But the beautiful thing about these messages are he addresses a lot of questions, a lot of concerns that people may have. Safety, properly taking care of yourself, ensuring your safety. He's touched on the dimensions of wellness, resilience, and finding humor in even the saddest of times and most difficult times. But his message has always been about hope, and that there is hope that is coming out of this. And I think that one of the things that I know that I've personally learned is the appreciation and the value of that human connection. And these messages that he has created for us, our sales teams use these. They're very purposeful, very thoughtful. There are some occasions where we would send this to multiple people, masses of people, but there are also times that we would use this as a follow-up to a family who had specific questions or concerns. And this has just been a great, and we have had so many of his videos come in. I know we have several more that are being edited, and this has been a really helpful tool for us to use in addition to our virtual tours.
Lori, I love Dr. O'Neill's videos. I mean, it is such a way to build trust with those that aren't really sure, for those that are uncertain, to have Dr. O'Neill, who is soft-spoken yet incredibly educated. He has so much valuable information to share. I've learned things from watching his videos, so they are among my favorites of the videos that you've created.
Thank you. Thank you. They've for sure been a huge help to a lot of people. Some of the ways that we've adjusted to change and challenges, our partnership with Heart Legacy has given us the opportunity to not only creatively connect, but to develop unique follow-up strategies. Our videos, you can't ask for anything more, anything better than a video that's created and then edited professionally for you to share. And these sales mail messages, it gives our sales leaders an opportunity to introduce themselves, create invitations, create really thoughtful, purposeful follow-up messages. Just to utilize these as really impactful messages to connect with our prospects. We've seen from very compelling, very heartwarming, very funny. We've got some very talented sales leaders in our communities. We have some singers in our communities, and I've had the opportunity to review these messages. Not all of them. I wish that I am able to review all of them, but I just can't tell you how impactful for me as an adult daughter this would be to receive this from a community that I'm working with who I'm considering for my mother. And these messages have made a huge difference. It's such an impactful follow-up. Kim, do you have anything you wanted to share?
I'll go back to the virtual video tours. Thank you, Lori. I think there's two elements here I want to ensure everyone attending today recognizes. There's a way to do it, obviously you can do a virtual visit or a virtual tour that's live in action. You're with the prospect, you're with the family, you're introducing them to key associates and even other residents throughout that time. Heart Legacy can also assist with the actual virtual video tour, kind of the stock tour that, as Lori mentioned, is professionally edited. It's a video tour. It's branded. It's beautiful. There is music in the background, of course, you know, royalty free. They make sure they follow all of those guidelines. We've been able to, again, based upon the timing of our partnership, have many of our communities have those professionally edited video tours now placed on our website. And that's something that's been an initiative we've been striving for some time and had not been able to bring that to fruition. So especially for those communities out there that don't yet have that resource, that one element alone has been incredibly beneficial above and beyond everything else we're talking about today. So for those people that don't live in the same state but would like to see what the community might be like, they can do that on their first visit to the community website. And we know that prospects and families are doing a lot of their shopping and decision making online before they even pick up the phone and call us. And so to have that professionally edited video tour has been very beneficial as well.
Absolutely.
I'm glad you mentioned that too, Kim. Due to timing, we can't play videos in our webinar today, but if anybody attending the call does want to see examples of these video tours, either those that are produced by Grace Management or from Blake and Benchmark and some of our other clients, we'll provide my contact information at the end, and I'll be happy to share a portfolio of examples. But you're right, once again, your partnership was so timely for us to be able to provide those virtual tours and get them up on your website so they could then be utilized to help you and your potential families make progress in their decisions.
I think we can go ahead and go to the next slide. And we're going to talk in just a few minutes about how impactful our partnership with Heart Legacy has been for us as an organization. But some of the ways that we've adjusted to change and challenges, we've adapted a whole new way of operating. Our days look entirely different. Our conversations look entirely different. But what we've adjusted, or what we've learned, is it's a new way for us to build relationships with prospects and our referral partners. A new way of connecting that does lead to success, when there were many that questioned whether you could have a successful sales mail, virtual video, and then a move-in from. We've definitely seen success. It's continued to creatively connect by designing these powerful messages. Definitely opened a whole new world of communication when isolation and social distancing means typically alone. It didn't mean that we had to be so far apart. We could still be connected to those that needed us to be, and even those that didn't know that they needed to be connected with individuals. It continued to show, or it continues to show, stability, vibrancy, and the possibility that we truly are all in this together. And again, just to stay connected and continue to nurture relationships, those lifelong relationships, friendships that we created with our prospects early on have resurfaced, and we're just seeing a lot of success. And I think we can go ahead and go to the next slide, where we're going to talk about the successes, just a minute, that we've experienced during a time where you were expecting a decline, where you were expecting no growth. We actually experienced tremendous growth within our organization. And as Kim and Hillary alluded to moments ago, we partnered with Heart Legacy in the end of February. Walt and Hillary came to present to our group in February at our annual meeting. And then right after that, we were affected by COVID, and isolation and social distancing became a real reality for us. We had the opportunity to really implement, and during a time of sadness and loneliness, fear and even anger, we were still able to connect. And I am so happy to share that Grace Management as an organization may happen to be our most successful month yet. We had so much growth, so much occupancy growth, and we continue to grow. And I believe that it's because of the continued commitment to staying connected with people. And sometimes those, when you're looking at numbers, and in sales, it's always about the numbers. But when you're looking at quantity and quality, quality is what is so important. And the quality of connections that we were able to create with our prospects has just been, it's just been so successful and instrumental for our communities and our organization. We were able to create fun, personalized messages. We'll continue to create fun and personalized connections. We're exhibiting to our prospects, to our referral sources, that we are committed to being good partners, and that we're also committed to just being a resource when needed. It's not just about the close and the sale. Of course, we know and we believe that our communities are the best place for seniors because we're well prepared to take care of that. But the resolution for a prospect or that family may just be that resource. But I did want to share how successful our partnership with Heart Legacy has been. And Kim, you disappeared for just a minute, but I can see you back. So I didn't know if you wanted to share anything.
I will. My apologies. I lost power and lost the connection, but I could hear everything you were saying on my phone. Yes, I think we attribute a lot of that success to our partnership with Heart Legacy and our ability to connect virtually. And one important thing I'd like to just reassure everyone about, and that is our prospects and our families are ready to move forward in this process. And many are more than willing and actually welcome the ability for that process to be virtual. We have been able to elevate our inquiry to virtual visit conversion rate. That's actually something we've been tracking, as well as our virtual visit to move in. And that's something that both in the month of May were exceptionally high, and again, contributed to the success we were able to experience in that month. Certainly do not want to discount the exceptional teams we have in each and every one of our communities. They are the ones there making it happen, making those connections, but want to share that kind of that lagging indicator of results certainly is there as well during a time when we can't be in person as much as we would like to be.
Absolutely. Thank you, Kim.
My pleasure.
Hillary, I think that is the last slide for me. I think I'll turn it back over to you. Again, thank you so much for giving us the opportunity to share. I think we ran over in time, and thank you everyone for being patient as we were going throughout our presentations today. But Hillary, I'll turn it back over to you.
Okay. Well, thank you. And great to hear those positive results on your last slide, Lori and Kim. I'm thrilled to hear that you've seen some success in the last few months. And for myself, also in the last 5 months, really the demonstration of strength and positivity within both yours and Benchmarks and communities, and really throughout senior living. It's been nothing short of inspiring. Even as our circumstances are met with restrictions, residents and staff members, I see every day they continue to be faithful, hopeful, they persevere, they're kind, and every video I watch, I'm in awe every single day. So thank you to all of you. Andrea, I don't know if we have time for questions, but we can open it up. Let me know what you think.
Sure. Real quick, I just wanted to show some of the ways that we at Senior Living Smart are using video as we are a full service marketing agency, and some of the successes that we've had is in our marketing automation emails. We've added a video from the sales director, which has increased the email openings by 60%, which has been significant. And then the other thing is that we have put together these digital e-brochures, and what we've been able to do is also include video in the e-brochures, which has also increased the downloads and the engagement with the brochures. So we've seen some great success in utilizing video in marketing. Just real quick, we'll do some quick questions that have come in, and I thank everybody for your patience. And just to let everyone know, we will be sending out a copy of the presentation as well as a recording of the webinar. Couple of questions. Does Heart Legacy integrate with any CRMs?
We do, yes. SalesMail integrates with Enquire, and we are on our way to wrapping up an integration with Sherpa. So what that means is when someone at the community level sends a sales mail with either their smartphone app or with their desktop app, that sales mail is then captured as a completed activity in their CRM, and it's flagged as the completed activity is a sales mail by Heart Legacy in their CRM. And if their CRM is also linked with their email, because sales mail comes from the sender's actual email account, if their email account and their CRM are linked, even if they're not Enquire or Sherpa, then that will be captured as a completed email with sales mail embedded. So yes, we do integrate with many different CRMs.
Oh, that's terrific.
A good question.
And then how long do you all recommend that the videos be?
So that's another good question. Everybody is of varying opinions. You know, if you think about the attention span of most people today, we've often been equated to have the attention spans of goldfish, which is shocking, but I do call that goldfish brain. And because of that, video needs to be short and succinct. 60 seconds to 90 seconds, in my opinion, is probably the sweet spot for a professionally edited video that's going to hold attention a bit longer, maybe 2 minutes max, but those are generally the parameters. The shorter, the better, so that we can stay and keep our recipients engaged.
Terrific. Well, that's it for the time we have. I want to thank all of our panelists and Hillary, our wonderful moderator, and thank all of those who stayed on to learn about this great resource. Hillary, where can we see examples of some of the videos?
So a couple of things. If my screen is still visible to the audience, my contact information is there. I have large portfolios of video examples that I can share. There are also some on our website at heartlegacy.com, and you'll be able to see examples of professionally edited videos here. Professionally edited videos as well as some sales mail videos. So heartlegacy.com has some. I have many more. Just reach out to me and I'll share some portfolios with you.
Okay, well, earlier in the presentation, I did share a chat message about a great opportunity for all of our attendees, and we did get another question saying, so what about that great offer? So everyone just keep a lookout, because when you leave the webinar, you're going to be asked for a survey question, and basically, we just want to ask you if you're interested in an opportunity to get a free 2-week trial of SalesMail, which is a great and generous offer from Heart Legacy. So I hope everyone takes advantage of it. Again, there'll be a survey at the end as you leave, and you can have access to a free 2-week trial of SalesMail. Well, thank you all for coming. This has been terrific. I hope everybody enjoys the rest of the day and stays healthy and happy.
Thank you, Andrea. Thanks, everyone. Thanks, panelists.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Have a great day.